Have you ever looked at someone and thought, my God, are they ripped? Man, I want to look like them. How do you get that cut? You know what? I'm going to start doing abs every day until I start seeing some results for myself.
Yes!
And then you do it for a little while, but you see absolutely no results, so you get mad and stop. But maybe you take it even a step further and start bashing their appearance as being unrealistic, unobtainable, unhealthy, etc. And accuse them of taking steroids or performing some kind of invasive surgery. And while steroids, liposuction, abdominal etching are certainly much more prominent in the fitness and social media and movie industry than you might have initially realized, these statements aren't entirely accurate for probably 99% of the population of people that you're going to interact with on a daily basis. Unless you're a natural ectomorph, or you're still in high school, abs are probably something that have been eluding you for the greater portion of your life if exercise and proper nutrition haven't been a focal point in your daily life. So it seems reasonable to assume that abs are virtually impossible to obtain for most people unless their nutrition is on point and are exercising constantly, right? There's no way you could simply get visible abs in as little as a month, or better yet, 22 days, right? What's going on, everybody? This is Cam with My Dude Reviews, bringing you another fitness review video to give you another honest, full fact, no cap video from just an average dude. A couple months ago, because I'm running super behind on all my content that I'm pushing out lately, a couple months ago, I asked you guys on my Instagram and Facebook which video should I make next, since I have video footage for both fitness programs as well as gaming clips, and you guys were super helpful. So I decided today we're going to be looking at Athlean-X's own Get a Six-Pack in 22 Days home ab workout. Now this video at the time of me making this review has over 14 million views and is the 8th most popular video on his channel of over 12.2 million subscribers. The guy certainly knows his stuff and has a reputation of delivering, which further increases his credibility. Hell, I've been watching the guy since I was lifting like back in high school. That's how long this guy has been making an impact on the fitness industry for. But if you're watching this, then you probably already know about Jeff's credibility, his softball-sized biceps, and the memes and the comments under each one of his videos that he posts. But if anyone else were to approach you in the gym, a pool, or on a running track, and they were to tell you there's a free workout plan that will give you six-pack abs in 22 days, you probably think they're spouting nonsense. But if it's coming from Jeff Cavalier, well... Alright, we're going to jump right into this and give a brief overview of what the plan is. Jeff breaks it down as a circuit of 6 different ab workouts that are performed every day for multiple sets for 22 days straight. These are W raises, Black Widow knee slides, which are a new favorite of mine, and I incorporate these in every single ab routine that I do from here on out, butterfly sit-ups, seated corkscrews, levitation crunches, and sit-up elbow thrusts. These are to be done in succession with little to no rest in between. First exercise is the W raises. The W raises are essentially a traditional leg raise with hip thrust, but in the W shape, meaning that you start out angled high like in the outer arm of a W, come down, up in the middle, but only partially, like in the middle of a W, back down, and then all the way an angle like the opposite arm of the W. The Black Widow knee slides are surprisingly difficult when done correctly and have become a new staple piece of my future ab workouts. The basic motion is a mountain climber movement with knees crossing, but at the peak abdominal contraction, you want to drive your hips to the ceiling. This movement is ineffective unless you maintain a rigid plank posture leading up to your hip drive. Much like a traditional plank, I didn't feel much stress until I was about 20 to 30 seconds in, but after that point, it's a mental battle just to get to 45 seconds. Butterfly sit-ups. Butterfly sit-ups are basically just unassisted sit-ups. Jeff has his arms reaching outward in a T-pose when he reaches the peak in his repetition, but I found that works much more rear delts and upper back more than it does adding resistance to the sit-up motion, assuming you can perform unassisted sit-ups without any kind of forward assist with arm swing. If you have a hard time performing these without incorporating any kind of arm swing, I highly recommend you do the reps exactly as Jeff does to better police your form. Seated corkscrew. These are pretty simple to understand. A seated, alternating leg tuck. Fully extend and keep your feet off the ground the entire time and just power through for 45 seconds. Levitation crunches. These crunches will surely put a lot of strain on your core as you have to hold the rep to where your upper back actually leaves the floor, but not quite enough to become a full range sit-up. You want to try to hold this position for approximately 3 seconds before returning to the ground. I found these near impossible to do correctly unless I had some kind of weight or counterbalance holding my feet down to secure my lower body, but that just might be a call for me to get bigger legs so I don't end up so top heavy. Sit-up elbow thrusts. These have been one of my favorite abdominal exercises for years. The sit-up elbow thrust combines a full sit-up along with a Russian twist motion at the peak of the rep. It's not a twist you perform during the full sit-up motion, but rather an explosive twist to either side once you've reached the peak range of upward movement. Get 5 on each side and you've completed the first round of the super circuit. Just like the comments section, the video says, this is way more challenging than most people initially anticipate. And when you're doing multiple rounds of this circuit, your abs will certainly get smoked quick. But this is a muscle group that is much like forearms and calves, where you are constantly using them all throughout the day. So naturally, a muscle group like this is pretty resilient. This is why it is okay to train something like abs every day for a period of 22 days and not larger muscle groups like legs or chest. Starting on day 1, I already had semi-visible abs, and with only 22 days, I wanted to make them as defined and puffed as much as I could. 22 days isn't a whole lot of time to start seeing results in muscle development. And when it comes to body fat storage, most people will typically start storing all their fat in their belly, their love handles, or their neck and face. For me personally, my body has always stored more fat in my abdominal center line, preventing any vertical abdominal separation from being visible, as well as underneath my belly button, but just above my V1. To help combat this, I applied what I learned in my previous video, the chicken and broccoli 7-day challenge. Instead of subjecting myself to that torture for the whole 22 days, potentially messing up on how my body digests and stores its carbs and fats, I wanted to change up my diet in a way that shares similar principles to the chicken and broccoli diet, but is also not so extreme and doable and manageable for anyone else. Essentially, I chose to only eat my carbs and fats with my breakfast meal, and every other meal or snack throughout the day outside of breakfast would only consist of like lean meats and vegetables, high protein and vegetables. This would give me the energy needed to start my day, but would force my body to burn what it had in reserves, stored fat, to fuel me throughout the day and my workouts. Speaking of workouts, 22-day abs is meant to be used in conjunction with whatever workout routine you're currently performing. You're not going to be burning as much calories and fat if you do just a few rounds of this a day. It needs to be done on top of what you're already doing. This is the same as this 22-day arms program, which I started at the same time as this. These programs are to top off what you're currently doing. You can expect to see that video drop shortly after I publish this one, and I promise you it's not going to take months for me to actually finish it this time. So, what were the results of this low-carb, high-protein diet in conjunction with Jeff's 22-day abs? Take a look for yourselves. Here's a side-by-side comparison, 22 days apart back in October when I completed this challenge. Both were taken at the same time of day, after using the restroom, before drinking water, and before breakfast on day 23. There is a difference, but if they weren't side-by-side pictures, it would appear as if nothing had changed. At this point in time, I don't think my abs ever felt stronger. I started day 1 really struggling to power through my 3rd set of Jeff's circuit, but by the last few days, I was cruising through 5 sets before starting to reach failure. In terms of performance, this program absolutely works and is highly effective. Like I mentioned earlier, the Black Widow knee sliders are now incorporated into all my ab workouts due to how effective I found them to be. But performance wasn't the objective of this video. The title of Athlean-X's video is Get a Six-Pack in 22 Days. I started out this video with somewhere between 12 and 14% body fat, which is already very lean for an adult male my age. But the evidence has shown that yes, you will get much stronger abs from completing this program. However, you will not see results unless your body fat percentage is at least somewhere around 12 to 14% or even single digits for men. Or unless you've been genetically gifted with where your body fat is naturally dispersed. Although my abs did get stronger, I cannot claim I would have seen any results had I not restricted myself from as many carbs and fats as the way I did. I certainly would have gotten much more prominent results if I did something like the chicken and broccoli diet for 22 days in conjunction with this, but 7 days is unbelievably difficult as it is, and I want to perform a more realistic approach to this challenge. Overall, I still had positive results, so it can work, but I can't help but to feel like this challenge should have been advertised as a 60-day challenge, as this would allow for nearly 3 times the muscle development as well as ample time for the person to drop their body fat percentage if needed. Not a bad program by any means. I would actually highly recommend it to anyone wanting a stronger core, but if you're in it for the 6-pack, well then you might be in it for more than 22 days if your body fat isn't where it needs to be. Athlean-X's Get a 6-pack in 22 days gets an MDR program rating of 6 out of 10.